everybody. It's Tuesday, the 21st of February. I didn't have to look at the calendar today because today is my mother's birthday. She was born 1,000 years ago in 1945 today. And I called and I sang happy birthday to her and made her ears bleed. And she was grateful for it because she loves me. And she told me that one day I'm going to be a great man and a special, and that I'm special and I can do whatever I want. And I don't care what you all say. Jeff will back me up on this. Probably not.
What?
Oh, see this guy. Whatever, man. He just leaves me out there. You know what? Let's go to people who might like me, but I doubt it anyhow. Let's just start. I got to go all the way back. This is ridiculous, but Craig Hutchinson was first today at 2:13 p.m. Eastern time. He might have been a little early for the show, but he was absolutely first in the comments today. Yeah. Good on you, Craig, buddy. I wonder if you're here now. Are you here now, Craig? That's the real question. Are you here right now? Anyhow, we got a bunch of people in the chat. People are starting to pop in. There's more trickling in. That's cool. Alan Becker. Let's scroll back a little bit. I got Hamburger Helper guy. I like that name. That's a fun name. Wait. Microscopic member, aka Long Dong. How can you not be thrilled with that name right there? I'm just saying. Good to see y'all. Dicks on Sticks. Nice to see you. Glad you people are here. Hooded Peter Schmilt. There's a name. This is one of the Alan Beckers. I happen to know that the real Alan Becker is not that one. I don't know who that one is, but that's fine.
Alan Becker, the real Alan Becker's a purple snake.
He's a snake. I'm just saying. I want to say this name because it's fun. Schadenfreude. Is that right? I'm going to stick with that.
Right.
Prove me wrong.
Sounds good.
Wimpy McPope, man with a million excuses. Hello. Cooper's Adventures, starring Huckleberry Hound. Good to see you. James Vaughn is all up in this place. Fat bastard. Look, we got a fat bastard in the group. I got no complaints. I'm just saying. Timothy Ransom. Oh, wait. Now, Turkey Hamburger Helper guy. Okay. Woof, woof. Oh, good Lord. There's Dennis Lewis is all up in this place. Mad as hell and not taking it anymore. I see you. Here's the real Alan Becker right there. He's the purple one. Yeah. At least that's what he told me in text messages because I texted him directly. I'm like, hey, man, which one are you? He's like, I'm that one. But they're arguing back and forth as to who is the real one. So we're just going to let them fight it out and see what happens. Could be fun.
They might both be like Alan Becker, just two different personalities of the same.
Right. Oh, maybe it's him fighting himself. He is a little sometimes, just saying. Oh, who else we got? Jonah Green. I see Jonah Green. Oh, Craig Hutchinson is here. All right, you've redeemed yourself, even though you were 4 hours early to the show. Good God, man. You weren't even messing around. Otis Campbell, good to see you. Crazy Cooper, the trucking gopher. Nice. Michael Ford. Roland Espinoza. Taylor. I'm going to leave it at Taylor. I'm not even going to screw that one up because I will absolutely. Schadenfreude. Oh, I see what you did there. Gotcha. That's funny. Oh, Lord. Mike Henderson, how you doing, buddy? I think we're all caught up. Trucker Dan. Wait. Trucker Dan. What's up, buddy? Woo. Callie Hustle. Good to see you. Oh, my Lord. It is a lot of folks in here talking back and forth. It's, look, I'm slow. Oh, so Narcs, I'll put you out of service. Great new content on the tubes this week. Nice. There's been interesting stuff for sure. TK, my brother. What's up, man? Peace be upon you, sir. Just go to Alan Becker said, just go to Decatur and just got to Decatur and heading to Laredo with 43 43,000 pounds of paper roll. See, now that I know is the real Allen because that dude don't care about heavy loads. I'm telling you right now, he still makes money. It's Wrath G. Okay. He is that. Wrath. Is it Wrath J? Wrath J. Silent E. You're confusing me. Life on 18 wheels. Good to see you. Right? Timothy Ransom said, I would be first, but I work for a living. Ken Kelly. Hey, Mr. Swift and that guy.
Yeah.
So Jeff did a thing this week. He
I?
exploded his truck.
What?
And that's our show for this week. All right, good job. Wait. Apparently he lost his water pump. And that sucks. But what's better is what happened next. Care to share, Jeff?
Well, yeah, when the tow truck came to hook me, they decided to try and lift a 15,500 pound truck off with the oil pan instead of the axle. So now I need a new oil pan, pickup tubes, and sump pump on top of it all. And that's causing an issue apparently because I ain't paying for that. They need to pay for that. So
so there's an insurance claim. Luckily.
So so I was talking to our road. So a couple things on that we'll talk about a little later. But yeah, it's been a thing. We probably ought to do the fuel surcharge first though, right?
Oh crap, totally forgot about it. Let's do that. My bad. Jeff is keeping me on it, y'all, because I'm a big dummy when we're gonna be like patap. So the national diesel fuel cost average has gone down to it's gone down 0.068 cents to $4.376. West Coast Pad 5 dropped almost similar to that of the West Coast to 0.061, bringing that price down to $4.972. We are under $5 on the Pad 5. I honestly can't remember the last time it happened. I don't know if you can, Jeff, or not, but I don't remember when it's been under $5 for Pad 5. That brings the fuel surcharge down to 0.52 cents. Even that's a change of 0.012 for the week. West Coast fuel surcharge stayed at 0.09 cents because that discrepancy or the disparity between the Pad 5 and the national average is 0.596, which is just about the middle of that 9-cent band. So there you have it. I did that. I will put it on the ticker, and you guys can quit yelling at me because I'm a very fragile individual, and I need some hugs and trophies.
You need a trophy.
I forgot to make myself not as large anymore. I apologize.
Charlie needs a trophy.
I need a trophy.
And you know, his favorite trophies happen to be in the form of Zippo lighters.
Oh, you bastard. Shut up. I was thinking more along the lines of a rubber duck. In case anyone out there who happens to be sending rubber ducks, there happens to be a person out there that will mail you a rubber duck if you ask for one. And I'm just going to throw it out there in case he happens to be watching, or maybe one of you guys could tell him, hey, you know, Charlie would like to get a rubber duck. Because I was thinking I would put a rubber duck sitting right there on my wall.
Are you talking about a legit rubber duck or the rubber ducks that we had at Basic?
No, it's a little tiny rubber duck.
Okay.
Little rubber duck. I'm just saying. Let's talk money, he said. Participation trophy.
Money.
Mike Ford said he's going to send me a participation trophy. Oh, Lord. So we have Tony Dennis and Jeff Reese coming on here shortly. Jeff Reese is hanging out. I don't know if you want to come mess around for a few, Jeff. I mean, we don't have a whole lot to talk about beforehand. I could come torture you. We could talk about the ES Fuel card if you want. Hey, let's do that. Look, just throw them out here. The hell with it. We're like, bam. What's up, Jeff Reese?
What is happening, guys?
We're just waiting on Tony Dennis. He's either going to call in or maybe try to get in on video. He's got a blizzard headed his way, so we'll see what happens for him.
Yeah, for some reason he chooses to live in Minnesota. So that comes with all the terrible weather that's
but you know what though?
winter.
You know what though? One of the things about Tony is this: if you ask him about it, just sit back with a cup of coffee because you're going to be there a minute, because that man will tell you all of about his farm, about his trucking
Oh, yeah.
carrier he just sold, and how he did what he did. And
Yep.
the dude's like,
I'm pretty sure
like,
you'll
like-
get the history of Minnesota and how
Yeah.
people got there, why it's named Minnesota.
but the nice thing about it though is, seriously, Charlie, have you broken out a notepad yet when he starts talking about his various businesses?
Every damn time that man talks, I start writing.
He knows his stuff. He
And I
knows
can't
his
keep
stuff
up.
because he's lived it. That's one thing. That's one thing that's really benefited us is, he's not only in the insurance game, but he's also been in the trucking game before. So I
Right.
mean, he knows it from both sides. And
And it's cool
makes
because
a difference.
he had to run his own authority for the farm, and he set that up because they had to move their own equipment and their own products. And then he started hiring drivers to keep them busy in the off season. I'm like, well, look at that, taking care of your guys, man. Good on you,
Mhm.
And then unfortunately, his partner passed, and he's given up that company back to his ex-partner's family. I guess they're taking over that end of the thing. So I mean, good on them, good on him. But the dude's got some knowledge, yo. Just saying, and we dig it because I'm serious. You could ask that guy anything, and he will lay some knowledge. Like, he will answer questions you didn't know you had, and
Mhm.
won't even understand that you have them for another week, and you're gonna be like, wait a minute, he answered that.
Yeah,
Nope.
How did
dropping
that
the
happen?
knowledge bombs. That's what it is.
Dude,
Mhm.
it's crazy. So what's going on in the ES world, Jeff?
Oh man, we're just we're growing. I just hired another person for onboarding to help out with the customer experience. They're going to start on Monday, so we've
Nice.
got we've got people having conversations all over the place. Fuel shop, tire, insurance.
Right.
We've got a guy that is getting ramped up on having the insurance conversation to kind of help out and help lead and guide our customers from that perspective.
Cool.
On the fuel card side of things, we've got 2 onboarding specialists now, which is incredible because now you've got your savings consultant that can really walk you through the benefits of the fuel shop and tire program,
Right.
and then you've got somebody that's dedicated to making sure that you are 100% trained and understand how the process works, how the platform works, how you can maximize it to save money, and then we've also got the support team as well. So
Nice.
Man, I'll tell you what, we've done a lot of work since January 1st.
Right.
So it's been a lot of fun.
So Jeff, I haven't done my 2020 gotcha stuff with you like I do with Brett,
Mhm.
but this is a thing. I'm going to put it up. Are you ready?
Here we go. I knew that was the one you're going to.
So this is getting discussed out there in the ether.
I'm sure it
Whether or
is.
not this acquisition is going to affect your, I don't even know how to say, our relationship with TA as a group, or if you think it's just going to continue on, or if you just don't have a comment.
Are there any inklings one way or another or something? Wink, wink.
So here's the thing. Way back in the day, BP actually owned TA in historically.
Really?
So yes, they did. But this was definitely it was a very smart move on BP's part. They did it to get into the diesel game, within the U.S. But I mean, I think they've got some other plans as far as how it affects our relationship, how it affects the discounts. It won't at all. So from what I understand, nothing's really changing over at TA at all. This was definitely a move to be able to get into, like I said, the diesel space within the U.S., but they're doing a good job. So nothing's going to change from that perspective.
Do you
So
know,
that-
did they take both lines of business, the TA and Petro?
Yes. Yep.
Cool.
Well, that explains why there's so many BP stations on TA Petro property already.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Seems
So
to be them or Marathon, right? Most times.
Mhm.
Marathon's probably owned by BP somehow. Let's just be real. I don't even know. I'm just making stuff up, throwing it out in the world.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it too, I mean, this was in the news articles though. If BP wanted to get into the diesel, industry and into the truck stop industry, you're talking about 10-15 million dollars to just to build one. They got these locations for what, just under 5 million a piece.
Right.
So financially, it made good sense to do that.
For a long-term historically established chain that is basically one of the major five, two of the major five. I mean, ready-made customer base right there. It's brilliant. If you got the money, that's the way to do it. Buy it up and be done with it.
Right. Absolutely. But yeah, as far as the discounts is concerned, I mean, all of our discounts are going to stay the same.
Nice.
The gallons that we have, I mean, it's proven, and why wouldn't it? But like 98% of the gallons are going to the discount location. So why would they change anything? Because I mean, that would affect the behavior of you guys, of the truck drivers.
Oh yeah, it would definitely do some changing. Let's just be real, and why mess with a good thing, Oh, look at that.
And that's what we're talking about, guys, that don't have the card yet.
Kenneth said he saved $193 on a 134-gallon fill-up at a TA Select. Just for those who aren't watching and listening, you're welcome.
Yep. And one of the things, I don't know if we brought this up to you, Jeff, before, but one of the things we noticed is historically, so Swift does send us recommendations on where to fuel, which have never been the cheapest fuel we could buy, even before we were using Condata. But now that we're using the ES Advantage card, those stops are more often the same stops that Swift is telling us to go to.
Right. It's just nice. It's nice to see that those discounts are.
Now we're getting that discount instead of Swift getting that discount and making the spread.
Right.
And that's the whole of this program, to drive the savings back down to your bottom line.
Right. And, God, man, I mean, dude, the amount of money that people save since, swapping over to ES card has been insane. Like, seriously, it's just been absolutely insane. And for some of these guys, I can assure you, it has absolutely saved their businesses. Whether or not they want to say that out loud or admit it, I without a doubt, I'm telling you, it has absolutely saved some of these guys' businesses. There's no doubt. So I think it's amazing. And Kenneth says those suggestions suck. You know what? If you don't have the ES card, they absolutely are not great. They suck. And because you could go to where they tell you to go, and literally across the street could be 15 cents cheaper.
Yep.
Just saying. But it's their best price. It's what they pay that matters. And so now we've taken that control, and it's what we pay that matters. It's what we save that matters. And, hey, look, I ain't mad. I mean, I was mad for a minute, but I ain't mad. I mean, it's business, you do what you can to build your own, I suppose.
Again, guys, the history of this is Charlie and I were more mad at ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once we learned how all of this actually worked, because for years and years, for me, 14 years, I used that Condata card. Why? Because I just figured, Swift, they must know what they're doing, right? And I figured whatever that spread was just that convenience fee for them doing all my IFTA and this and that and everything else. And then when we found out, when we were talking to you about the discounts we could get through our own card, we were like, well, holy crap, if the spread's that big, that's more than just a convenience fee.
Right.
Again, it's just business. Swift gets that discount based on their 17,500 truck fleet.
And they're fronting the fuel cost.
On the ES card, it's a prepaid deal, which we could get into that a little more if people want to. But that, Jeff, that's the biggest hurdle that we see with guys is a lot of guys are just broke, and to try and fund that card looks impossible to them.
Yeah.
But if I could get someone to just literally just skip a payday for themselves, and some of these guys are only making like $500 a week profits, because you know how freight is out there right now. We've talked about it. It's bad. But if you take that $500 and put that on that card and then go in and get a receipt, because the receipt that we get is the retail receipt. It doesn't show the discount on the receipt from the truck stop.
Right.
And you put that in your little binder or whatever you use. And then next week, let's say you saved $100 on that fuel up. So now there's only $100 on that card. But the retail was 500. So you could put 500 on it again.
Right.
You put that retail amount on that card each week that you
it
would
starts
have
building.
spent. And, you know, life happens. Charlie and I talk about this a lot. And the truth is there's times that we have to go back to COM data because life happened and we just don't have any money.
Right.
You know, family emergencies, car repairs at home.
Bad run at the craps table.
For some
My
people.
bad.
But whatever it is, life does happen and we get that. But you know, whenever I have to restart, that's how I restart. I say, okay, I have this much this week that I could put on that card and I'm going to use that money. And then
you build it up a little bit at a time.
Because you're no worse off using that formula than you would have otherwise been.
No, and there's no requirement, like minimum requirement. There's no penalties or fees for you know, having money just sit on there while you're building it up.
Right.
So you know, if it takes a few weeks to build up enough to be able to put a fuel in,
Take advantage.
Then, so I mean that's perfectly fine. I mean,
Not to mention, if
set
you
this
use our
up.
link, you'll get an extra $50 put on your card by using our link. Just saying, because Jeff and I don't take that referral bonus like some other folks do, which is fine. I mean, no big deal. We just opted not to take that. So you start with that extra $50 first time you use the card. Pow!
Actually, yeah, and right now for the rest of February, it's $85 because we're also throwing in a $35 just sign-on bonus.
No. I'm just playing.
Like,
What am I going to say, right?
I know. I was like, what is he getting ready to do?
He's like, what the hell just happened? Hey, Mike Henderson said the last 3 days of savings, $1,757.34, fueling in El Paso and Midland exclusively. This is paying for my family's health care plan, $1,500 a month for his health care. That's from using this ES card. Look at that.
It's amazing.
We're funding his what we are. You know what I mean? The card is funding his health care. You know what I mean? Which is insanity all by itself, the number that he threw out. And it just makes me hurt. But I mean, good Lord, man, you know, I mean, that right there all by itself could be looked at as life-changing. You know, do you have health insurance? Do you not have health insurance? Because I know an awful lot of guys that opt not to have it because they're like, it's so damn expensive. I just can't afford to get it. Well, look at there. There's a way to do that, you know? Hey, Barb, good to see you. Glad you're here. Matt Nissen finally got here. Oh, more referral, less trucking. Oh, stop it. That was a mistake. That's funny though. Why I put 20 cents per mile in maintenance and use that when I'm desperate? Look, Michael Ford, you know, talking about another way to handle funding things, you know?
Yeah, a lot of you guys, one of the methods of funding is with a debit card. And if you use that method, the COM data card works just fine. You just need to make sure though, that when you put the COM data card information into the app to fund your ES Advantage card, the zip code you need to use is the zip code for the corporate terminal in Phoenix. That's the zip code that's linked to that card.
Right. Hey, Ken Kelly said, I top the card off every week at 5K. If life happens, I have a cushion. Dude's got some fuel reserve built up so that if things get in the way, the dude's got enough fuel to go run himself for a couple weeks. And with prices dropping, it may turn into 3 weeks worth of fuel here pretty soon. So here's an interesting question. I'm not a fan of credit, but I'm going to throw it out there anyhow. Ken said, can we get a line of credit with the ES card, or we can get a line of credit with the ES card, right? Instead of loading cash? Just wondering. So
that one, it's yes, you can, but it's difficult to do. That's with our partner. And they have a very, especially right now with the way that risk is going and fraud and everything else. They're actually, a lot of the fuel card companies are taking some major hits right now. So they have really tightened up and made it very challenging to get a line of credit. So the other thing that you could look at doing too is if, we do a debit card, we also accept credit card. So if you need that, 30 days, you could look at it from that perspective too and use a credit card just to get things going until you get
If
some
you're going to
cash
do
flow.
it just for like the first month to get yourself rolling,
Yeah.
don't do that crap every time because
No.
Just remember, Charlie and I are on the same page with
Oof.
this. We're not on the same page on everything, but this is one of those things that we are. The use of credit introduces risk into your business. There is a time to use credit if you're disciplined,
right.
but make no mistake, using credit introduces risk. And Charlie and I have both run our businesses without credit for the most part. Now,
Right.
of course, we lease trucks or
Right.
whatever. But I'm really careful on the use of credit on my business because my business pays my house note, my mortgage. I don't want to put that in jeopardy by defaulting on. I mean, I had a dude the other day cold called me. Hey, I see that you're in the trucking industry, this, that, and the other thing. Because when you have an LLC, they know stuff about you that they don't know about you when you don't have an LLC. I'm ready to offer you a $100,000 line of credit, and I'm like, I need that like a hole in my head.
Right.
And he
Two
could
right
not,
here,
he,
right
he-
here.
he could not understand what the words coming out of my mouth. I'm like, dude, just hang up. You're wasting your time. You're not getting a sale here. And now my truck's broken.
Yeah.
But
Oh, God.
I mean, I'll handle it with cash, right?
Well, here's a question. The real Alan Becker asked, Jeff, have you guys finished the updates on the ES app for fleet owners so we don't have to have multiple apps to see transactions and such for each driver / card?
So the mobile app will show the 3 most recent transactions, but it does not pull in every single transaction. If you want to really look at the activity that's going on with your fleet, if you've got more than one truck, that's still going to be managed through the WEX website. One thing that you can do, and that I highly suggest you do, is schedule transaction reports. That way, you're not having to log in every week, but
Right.
you can schedule a weekly report that comes out that shows what the transaction activity is, what the savings were, where the fuelings occurred, all that stuff. And that way, it's just sitting in your inbox every Monday or whatever day you choose.
Hell, you can set it up to go daily. I mean, you
Yeah,
can set it
good.
to whatever you want. I mean, it's the scheduling is flexible to whatever the hell you want.
So how does that come to you then, Jeff? Is that coming to you in an email or is it sitting there at the WEX website?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can schedule it and put it in an email, and it can come to multiple people. So if say, your wife's helping you out with managing the books or whatever, it can actually come to you and your wife or partner, whoever.
You mean her?
Right.
Yeah,
The
there you
CFO, Donna, lounging at the Golden Nugget there in Reno, chilling like a villain.
It's nice when you only live 500 miles away from where you broke down, so your wife can join you for a couple days.
Right.
Tell
No
you what.
kids. Waka waka waka. With the 70s
So
themed room. Oh,
as I
sorry.
was doing my year-end books, Jeff, here's something for you. And I ended up doing it a different way, but I tried to do a year-end report on the WEX website. It never loaded.
Okay.
Like I tried to do January 1st through December 31st, which is an option, right?
Yep.
But it never loaded the report.
Really?
I don't know if they have
I think
some
it's got
sort
a
of
compiling
data.
issue.
Yeah. I mean, I was still able to go through and look at my previous saved reports because I save one once a month anyway. I just wanted that nice clean year end, and I couldn't get it.
Were you trying to do it like with all the detail, or were you just trying to do grand totals?
The detail.
Yeah, that's a lot of data. I'll bet you
It is.
kind of.
It was like, nope, can do, nope, broken. Oh,
I mean, I figured out a different way to do it,
That
but
was my
still, I
computer
just thought
voice.
that was an interesting glitch, if you will, that you couldn't run a detail for the whole year.
Yeah, it's that's a lot of data, and I think that it probably timed out, especially. You could probably make it work if you tried it a few times, but my experience with them is, you know, a lot of times when you're pulling that much information, it'll time out on you.
So stick to the monthlies. Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, the other thing you could do, I don't know which format you download them in, but you can have them sent in Excel file format, and then you can just consolidate those.
Yeah, that's what I ended up doing.
Yeah.
And yes, I will answer your
Yes,
question
and
publicly, Jeff Reese. I sent him the number.
Just making
I
sure.
texted him. Look,
Just-
I sent him the number like an hour before I remember to send you the link, because I'm like, oh, I sent him the number.
So while we're waiting for Tony, you wanted to talk about my experience in Reno on the truck?
But of course,
because there's an issue, guys, when you have an older truck that I did not know about until 2 days ago.
we need to address this somehow. I don't know how, but
right. So I called on road because, you know, I had the red lighted death, engine shut down warning, all of that stuff, and smoke coming out of my engine compartment and molten plastic coming out of my
literally
water my water pump. So I call on road. By the way, 6 years I've owned this truck, Charlie. It's the first time I've ever had it towed. So that's a pretty dang good run.
Yeah, it's definitely a good run.
Come to find out, the shop in Sparks, the Swift shop in Sparks, will not touch my truck because of its age. They say that they do not have the ability to pull codes out of my truck and this and that and all sorts of neat excuses, but but I thought that was worth bringing up, guys. Like if you're like me and you prefer to not have payments, and we're gonna try and talk to like Brett and Juice and some people about this and see if this is a thing at other terminals or if it's just this one, because you know Sparks is kind of small.
Right.
I've never had this issue in West Valley or Phoenix, but they have actual Freightliner employees working in their shops.
Right.
So they have all that stuff. So just be aware, if you've got an older truck, you may not, you know, be able to get Swift to work on it. You know, all I was after was the lower labor rate. That's what I was after, right? You know?
Yeah, it's a freaking water pump.
So water
really?
pump it's not that hard. It's like 6 bolts and it's off, and then you put the new one on, and there you go. So it's not something that's really technical. It's not like I was having tear the top end off or anything, which I would never have. So shop do anyway. Well, did I tell you? So squirrels.
Detroit, anyhow.
Squirrels. You know, when I had my Kenworth T2000, my first truck that I leased, I actually asked the guys at Phoenix. I said, so at 100,000 miles, can you run the overhead for me? And they didn't even know what I meant.
Huh?
At the Phoenix shop. What
do you want to
talking
do?
about? So that brings up
Overhead.
another thing. Those of you guys with a MRP truck, just know they probably have never done a valve adjustment on that truck. Right. So just go have it done. It's like $200.
Hey, Robbie Mead. Yeah.
It's like $200. They have to have the truck for 24 hours at a shop that does it, whether it's Kenworth or Freightliner, because that engine needs to be stone cold when they do it.
Right.
But yeah, just know that if you're getting one of these trucks that was a company truck, just go have it with that. I'm just
Here
saying.
we go. Our local ASC certified dude. That is BS, Alan Becker said. Even with the J Pro Swift uses, they can pull codes from any year with a 9-pin connector. And if they have the Detroit software, again, mere excuses as the motor in your truck versus the new one. Minor excuse. Yeah, whatever. I can't translate his
minor.
speech. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and so the tech at the dealership I'm at, he comes out with this old Acer freaking laptop, plugs it in, and says, "Oh, okay, let me go see if we got the parts."
Alan's doubling down this. He said one is dumb as they are identical. If they can fix the new DD, they can fix the old one. So there you go. The man has spoken.
Yep.
He is fired up. He's not buying this mess. But I mean, look. So I had a problem with Ocala years ago before they swapped foremen, and there's been a lot of changes since this. So don't use this as your judge of Ocala now. But I tried to get a DOT inspection, and the old foreman, whom I ended that conversation with some choice words. Maybe you're familiar with the letters GFY. That's how I ended the conversation. If you know that, you're good. If not, don't worry about it. Anyhow, try to get a DOT inspection, and the dude told me, well, your truck's so old, I'm just probably going to send it over to Freightliner. You're better off just take it to Freightliner anyhow, because it's so damn old, it's not going to pass inspection. And if we find anything, we're not going to be willing to fix it. We'll just send it to Freightliner. And I was like, the hell did you just say to me? I'm like, bro, you guys are billed as a cheap shop for me to use. I don't understand what you're saying. Why don't you want to take my money? And we had words that were not pleasant. And Jeff's wife would probably smack me in the head for the words.
Probably.
A lot.
There is an airport just down the street.
I'm just saying. I know better.
But yeah, I mean, our issue here is that Swift advertises one of the benefits of leasing on with Swift is their terminal network and the cheap labor rates.
Right.
Well, that doesn't do a guy any good coming from the outside with a 2005, glider with a Series 60 in it, apparently.
Right. How much would that suck, right?
Yeah. Oh, we're both reading. Okay.
let me look deeper into that.
So Alan,
I got to step away for a second.
That's why I keep my scanner on my truck, not my big one, but the one that will pull codes, erase, and force regens. Main thing is viewing live data. So, Alan, what scanner do you use? Because I remember years ago, and I just never did it because I'm, me. Guys were talking about one. It was kind of that big handheld. It was blue, and it did all that stuff. So, Mike, I'm at the end of my 1-year lease, 2019 with 400,000 miles. I'm trying to work out my options. What's your opinion on the MRP? We're at the point now to where we're hesitant to actually have an opinion on that. And the reason is because if a guy has a solid truck, which if you've had the truck for a year, you know this. If you've got a solid truck, it's a great way to get past where you can actually buy the truck, because the buyout on the new trucks, like I think Charley's is at something like $85,000 to buy that truck out at the end of his lease. And when you did one of those 1-year specials, it's pretty hard to come up with 80 grand in a year. But if you want it, if it is eligible for an MRP, I would probably MRP it. I was talking to Michelle yesterday about the possibility of adding a truck, and she's got a 21 Freightliner in West Valley right now that I could get a hold of, and it's got just over a year left on the lease, and then it could be MRP'd. And I was thinking that I might pull the trigger on that and put someone in that truck, and then I'd have the same problem as Alan trying to figure out these reports with Jeff Reese and having multiple fuel cards out there.
Fun times.
So yeah, Dennis Lewis has an opinion. MRP is worth it. Dennis is out there running his truck. We talk from time to time. So this is something though too, Dennis. So you're on that older MRP. His buyout is just over 13,000. That's no longer the case. They're ranging. I think last time I talked to Michelle about it, the payouts on an MRP are ranging between 25 and 40,000, depending on the truck. So if you're going to go MRP, make sure you get all of that information before you sign that contract. Know exactly what you're on the hook for, because it depends on how old the truck is, how many miles, and all that stuff. No two MRP trucks are the same on that buyout, is what we're finding.
Oh, I did it. It was my bad. I sent Tony the wrong daggone phone number. I swear look, I don't even know what I did. Look, I don't even know how I did it, but I did it.
Well,
So I saw that Whippy McPote, man with a million excuses. I don't know if it was you that asked a similar question earlier before we started the show. How many short runs that pay well do drivers actually get with dispatch? So this is where having a good relationship with planners comes into play. I will get up to, I think the most I ever got of the under 400 milers is like 4 at a time, and they were just back to back to back to back to back. But that was because I called the planner. He asked me to do this really crappy load, and I'm like, well, that's not going to happen unless there's a cookie involved. And so I called him, and we worked out a deal. And he said, well, yeah, I've got these other 4 if you want, 3 if you want to do them. And
Right.
I'm like, absolutely. I'll do 3 loads that are 300 miles, 4 loads that are 300 miles at that higher pay. Heck yeah.
Right.
And then when it was done, I got a load to like Texas somewhere after that from Georgia. So I did him a favor. He did me a favor. And then I got a long load after that. And that was a really good week. It all depends on, you got to be willing to hustle a little bit to get those opportunities.
Right.
They don't
Hey,
just fall in
Sue.
your lap.
Welcome. For any of you who don't know, Sue is now the East Coast representative of the owner operator planners, or that's not really their title, but that's what we call them. They are OOFCs, the owner operator fleet consultant people, these things, your mabobzers.
sounds very official.
Right? That sounds hot, right? Like I just want to hang out with her now just because of that all by itself. But yeah, she replaced Omar Higgins. Omar went somewhere else doing something else within the company, moving on up to the east side, something like that. I don't know. Yeah. So my bad on this Tony thing. I'm like, and you know what? I sent him the same wrong number last week, apparently. Because I went back and looked at my text. I'm like, well, I sent it to him last week. Oh crap, I did it last week too. I double tapped the wrong number. It's supposed to be 3722. I double tap 3772 because that's what I do because I'm not a smart man sometimes. This silly little thing. Right
That's what happens when you don't wear your Kevlar when you jump.
here. That's probably legit right there. See, look, it's right there on the damn screen, 3722. But what did I do? You can tell them 813 live SCC. I mean, that'll get you the same place. That's what Oh yeah. So yeah, and I haven't had the fuel surcharge going because when I said I was going to do it, I never did it because we got started talking about other stuff. And oh man, I got all kinds of stuff I want to talk about later though. I'm just going to throw that out there. So hang around after we definitely talk.
So Charlie, we were talking about the MRP and if it's worth it to take a one of those 1-year special leases and turn it to an MRP. And it was asked if we had an opinion on that. And I said that we're wishy-washy on it, basically.
Right.
Depends on the truck. And I said that if you've been in the truck for a year, you know if it's a good truck or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can make a better decision than someone coming into an MRP cold. What would you like to add to that, Charlie?
No, I think you nailed it. I think that's actually pretty fair. I'm not a warranty guy. I mean, I have a brand new truck with a warranty, but I brought in my 07 that had 0 warranty when I got it. It had 492,000 miles on it, and I ran it till 1.7 million miles with no warranty on it, and did just fine. I just planned accordingly. My maintenance account has always been set at 20 cents a mile, and most of my maintenance account money was spent on things like Vegas and craps and other things. It's true. I'd put it in there and I wouldn't need it for maintenance and I'd go to Vegas. We'd like, Rosie, let's fly to Vegas this week. She's like, okay. And we'd come back and blow up a transmission. Luckily, had the money for that then, though, so it's all good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so that was that was pretty much all you missed.
Yeah. And no, I mean, I think you covered it pretty good. I mean, I'm just not a warranty guy. I mean, great, it's there, but you're the last person in line to get work done typically. What are you gonna do? You save the money on the repair, but you lose the money in revenue. Jeff is at a Freightliner right now where, had it just been the water pump, he'd have walked in there, spent $1,700 and been out today.
Yep. I actually, if it wasn't for the discount on the tow, I probably wouldn't have even called Swift if that's all it was.
Right.
Because I can stroke a check for that right now. Probably not in 2 days if I have to buy more hotel rooms.
Right. Looking at the chat, Chris the trucker said he's on his first lease. It's an MRP. So far I can't complain. Just had the second oil change and they replaced the knock sensor on it. And
Nice.
cool. I mean, there are definite benefits to their program. That 80-20 split where they cover the 80, you cover the 20. I mean, look, nothing wrong with that. It's just you're kind of at their mercy sometimes.
So we've done a deep dive analysis on shows in the past, and the bottom line is this on that MRP. That 7, 8, 9 cents a mile, depending on your mileage that you're paying into that MRP maintenance account, you will never see that money again. Just know that. But when we did the math, if you bought a used truck from Aero Truck Sales and you bought their extended warranty that covers the truck from end to end for another however many 100,000 miles and years, the cost is about the same. So basically that 7, 8, 9 cents a mile that you're paying for that extended coverage is like buying the extended warranty on a used truck.
Right. So yeah, there are definite things that can be done there. Life on 18 Wheels asked Jeff, "Are you staying put until the truck is repaired, or will you be renting from the fleet?"
So I am faced with some different decisions and different options right now. It's looking like if I could just get Swift to approve the doggone repair for the damage that the tow truck did to my truck, because that's turning out to be the bottleneck here. I'll be on the road by Friday. So I'll just wait. Right. I have an option. Like I said, I was talking to Michelle 2 days ago, and I have an option to get a new truck, which I may still do because there's a thing I want to do that I don't want to really get into with a small fleet. Well, maybe I'll say something, Charlie, real quick. It was brought up to us over a year ago. Hey, why don't you guys do a owner operator academy? And I think that's a good idea, but it would require me to have a small fleet of trucks. And so I'm looking at building a fleet of about 5 trucks where I can hire guys and teach them how to be owner operators and then get them their own truck when they're ready. And I think there's a market for that. And there's some trucks available right now that would fit the bill for that. I just wasn't ready to pull the trigger. I was talking to Charlie about this yesterday. I just wasn't really ready to pull the trigger until about next year. But, when things like this happen, you start thinking, you have a little time to think. You're in a little bit of a bind. If I had a second truck, I would just have my wife take me home and grab the second truck and go, right?
Right.
Yeah. Charlie actually still has that option. He still got Chewy in his backyard. If he had to, and that truck was his new truck, had some sort of weird thing happen that was going to take a month for them to get parts, he could put Chewy back in service. So that's the sort of the rental thing, because the damage was done to the tractor by a towing company. I would absolutely be asking for them to pay for my rental as well if I decide to go that route. I mean, they killed my truck, man. They killed my truck. It was their mistake, and they need to make that right. Be careful with the knock sensors and keep an eye on the one box. So yeah, so Dennis, you know what I'm going to say about this. And And Jeff and Tony aren't the only ones that we want to build a relationship with. The guys at DPF Alternatives, we were looking at building a relationship with them as well. Because that one box thing, you go and have them do their full service on that thing where they pull the whole thing off and they clean everything and get it back to factory spec. Actually, in my case, it was better than factory spec. You know what you get for that? As long as you use the max mileage from then on out, you get a lifetime warranty on that stuff. So that's worth a lot. It sounds. Do we have Tony?
Working on it.
Oh, okay.
Charlie, I think Charlie's trying to dial out instead of waiting for trying to get him to dial in.
Okay.
So. Hopefully soon. Hopefully it's not the blizzard that's causing the communication issue.
Ken, I'm not quite sure I understand the question, but I'll read it. Jeff, do you know, since you call on road service, are they going to bill you a percentage of the bill? Yes. You're referring to that 10% surcharge? Yeah, they will. But the discount on the towing, like I'm going to pay $80 for that tow, and I had a loaded trailer on board when they towed me. So $80 for the tow. So if I had paid for that myself, you guys know what that could have cost me. I think that 10% is worth it. 20% interest to buying a first truck. I'd rather get the money in Swift. Holy cow! Is it that
All right,
high
Tony,
now?
I'm going to drop the call.
Is it that high now? We're looking at 20% interest rates.
And now we have Tony in the feed. There you go. Look at that, Tony. I think we made it. Sorry,
we did.
Oh, good Lord. I was screwing that up everywhere, all over the place. I could break things even more. James Vaughn, you're welcome. I broke things for you today. There you have it.
There you go.
That guy just waits for me to break stuff.
It's just another.
We are all about meeting expectations at Contractors Corner.
Right. And exceeding them, sir. So for those of you who don't know, that's Tony Dennis from Seabrite Agency. He's the mastermind behind all this insurance stuff, and he had to put up with me, Jeff, and all of our craziness. And he's the guy that the poor man that has to deal with all of our madness now. Good to see you, Tony, or hear you at least.
Yeah, it's very good to see you guys. And you're in warm weather.
Absolutely.
Well,
Wasn't quite as warm
warm
as yesterday, but it was good today.
Got warmer weather than you, Tony.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you are. If you're not with Tony, you're in warmer weather.
Yeah, if you're not in Canada or on the moon, it's warmer. That's what I'm going to go with.
There you go.
So let's dive into some questions that we've been getting this week. Well, what's your end looking like so far on this, Tony? Is there anything we need to do better, worse? We need to do more of?
Well, I think so. We've worked with Swift. We've got the process down. We've been educated on how the rating structure works. The policy matches. We now can do it. The only cumbersome piece is, in order for us to do it properly, we have to have pages 7, 8, and 10
Right.
In your lease agreement. Then it's a breeze. Then we can match everybody's quotes right up to snuff, and it allows the gap to work correctly. And so in most cases, I would say we are right at, sometimes over, and under, not a great deal, but enough under, and there's no camera. So and then for those guys that are on actual cash value, it's dramatic.
Right.
So.
Oh yeah, it's huge. It's the gap that brings it up into those ranges where we're comparable to Swift's numbers, slightly above, slightly under, depending on your situation. But I think what a lot of people don't understand, Tony, and maybe they do and they don't want to face it, I don't know, the gap coverage and what it is maybe you could break down exactly the purpose of it and why it's important.
So basically, you have an equipment lease, and so it's no different than renting a car. So you're only paying for the portion of the vehicle under that lease agreement, so that at the end of your lease, the value of your truck is um, should be worth what it is, and you should be able to walk away from the lease, or you can buy a new truck. You can
Right.
buy that truck, but you're only paying for what you've used out of that lease. So the value of that truck at the end of the lease is what's left. In the truck market, especially right now, you're all pretty fat and happy because the
Right.
used truck market is extremely high. So when you go down through there, each one of them probably the gap is only worth about $3,000 to $4,000. If the market continues to soften, right, and trucks actually start getting produced and parts are all here, the gap could widen. The gap then makes you whole. So regardless as long as we have that SLV statement, page 10, we look at the stated value, we look at your insured value. If you close out upside down and you total that truck, we'll pick up that exposure for you.
Right.
So
And I think that's where people, they're like, well, the market right now is great, but on Dad IQ on they had analysts on there today who was actually specifically talking about the used truck market and what their expectations are this year, and they're saying that there's going to be a considerable start. They're expecting a considerable drop to start happening this year, and that later in the year it's going to be quite a difference between what the market shows your truck value is today versus what we're going to be looking at come the end of the year.
yes,
And so if like
that.
with my stipulated loss value, I mean, I'll jump out and look at it. Let's say let's jump out to November for fun. November 4th, I still owe $178,000, 715, 178, 715, 18 is what my SLV is as of that date. Right.
Correct.
But if the market says, well, it's only worth 130 and I have a total loss, the insurance without the gap is going to pay the market value of the 130. And I'm on the hook for the rest because our contract, which we're going to go over later some more in this show, you guys, some more of this contract stuff. But the contract states that I owe that 178 or whatever it was just now. Period. It doesn't matter what the insurance paid. I owe that money.
You know the difference. That's
Right.
why the two options is to take what the primary option is that they have currently with American Interfidelity, which lists the value. The other policy is called stated value. So no matter what happens in that 12-month period, that's the amount of money that you would get.
Gotcha.
Okay. So that's the two options. One has gap, one doesn't need gap because it comes into the contract saying for 12 months, this is the value you are going to receive.
Right.
So essentially on the stated value in month 1, you're paying for exactly what you need. In month 12, you're probably getting the buy of your lifetime because your truck isn't going to be worth it.
Right.
Right. So you're paying premium on what you'll actually receive. That's the two differences between the policy. The towing, all the other coverages are the same. The difference is if you own your truck, nobody can tell you what it's worth other than you. And as long as you're, at a reasonable value through the average, you'll have full coverage, right?
Right.
So you can't come in and tell me your truck's $10,000 and then all of a sudden that's stated value. That's what you would get. Whereas, and you're only paying for the insurance premium for $10,000. And we've had that request because what they're really looking for is towing coverage.
Right.
They're looking for pollution and cleanup. They're looking for, all the perimeter coverages and not so much the truck.
Right.
So you take somebody who truly owns their truck, today's probably a high value compared to the fall, but you only have to worry about it, for 1 year, and then you can readjust your value of your truck and
Right.
then pay it again. So you can't come in once you start it, you can't come back in every month and readjust it. You pick it for a year, and then you're in. That's what the value is.
Right. So the processes that you guys are working on now to get our guys signed up and insured and covered and all that, I guess we weren't anticipating the amount of people jumping out on this deal as quick as they are.
I would say
Um,
that's a fair estimate. You guys have more clout than you know. The people are very friendly, and they all know how to get to their pages, and they send them to our cell phones and email when they can, and we work it up. We send it in writing so that they have everything laid out to the penny. If they accept it, they simply sign the bottom, send it back in, and we'll bill them at the end of the month. The issue that we have right now is kind of it will keep raising its head. You guys pay for your insurance by the week.
right.
So today you've already paid for to the end of the month. So it makes no sense because I can't get your money back. So we had the office manager speak with a lady at Swift, and it's easier to do it on the 1st and the 15th basis. Those are the two simple days for your accounting, because I have to send all the paperwork in, right? So I have to send all the certificates with all the named insureds. I have to send a copy of your SLV, the page 7, and that verifies, they check it, and then they approve it, and away we go. So even though I sent it in today, she may not get it for 2 days.
Right.
So we've just agreed that those would be the 2 dates that we would make changes.
Okay.
So
Especially with the amount of people we got going in all at once right now. So
yes, and the amount of activity, we're somewhere around 146 trucks, and their owners have made contact with us.
nice.
And I think we lack 2 quotes at the end of today to be in 100% of the people quoted. They have indications, but physical quotes may not go out till tomorrow, and that's really because we had to close down the office to get all of our employees home.
Right.
They're buried in for the next 4 days.
Oh my.
That wonderful weather of yours up there.
Yes.
All right, cool. So I mean, and that's been a lot of the frustration with some of the guys that we've been getting from. They're like, well, I sent in, I talked to Scott or whomever, and I haven't heard anything back. I'm like, look, you just got to be patient. We slam them with a lot of people and a lot of requests all at one time, and we honestly just didn't anticipate this big a rush for this. So our bad. We're sorry. Tony's people are working through this as quick as they can, and they are getting to you guys.
I mean, guys, if it makes you feel any better, I didn't get my call back for like 2.5 days.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's how busy they are.
So we are, as far as I know, if somebody hasn't got their quote, I know that there are 2 individuals that have not. That's what I was told when I left the office. Otherwise,
Right.
And if somebody hasn't, you've got my cell phone. Send me a text, and I'll pull it up and send it out right from here.
Oh! I didn't hear that, but I didn't hear him say this, Dennis. But I believe you because I know you, Tony. Charley said that he will come up north and shovel every one of you out of the snow.
Absolutely not.
Hey, Dennis. I mean, he's an honest guy. I've known him
Dennis
a
can
while
pound
now.
sand, yo. Straight up,
Charley,
Dennis can pound sand.
It's good that you're coming, because when I pulled in the driveway, I have a huge circle driveway between the house and the barn.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through the gate and slid off the road, and it's sitting in the pasture.
Well, at least you were in your yard this time.
I am in my yard, but I have to tow myself out. That's what I'm going to be working on when we hang up.
So Timothy Ransom says, I got a quote, but I was told I can't buy it till the 1st. And Timothy, that's what we were just talking about. It has to do with when things post and the fact that we've already paid, this week's. We're already on the hook for what we paid Swift. So it's say that again, Tony. It's the 1st and the 15th will be the effective dates. That would be our effective dates when we sign up.
Yep.
So,
So
and I just want to. This is something that Charlie and I feel strongly that we need to reiterate with everybody. When you call Tony's firm, Seabrite Agency, and you sign up for this, it's time to put your big boy pants on. This is not coming out of your settlement anymore.
Right.
You are going to have to pay every month for your insurance premiums.
Right.
If you don't pay, it's just like your car insurance. You know, you don't pay, guess what happens? So make sure that you're doing your accounting and your financing and your budgeting, and you make good on your insurance payments. Or I'll just come out and say it, Charlie, bad things will happen.
Right. Well, look, and those bad things are you can lose you're going to lose your insurance. What is it? 10 days, Tony? Upon no payment, I believe it is.
that's what the contract says we have
Right.
to live up to, but we can. This is a private program now, so if somebody doesn't pay and something bad happens, we will be able to work with them for a few days. But you can't be gone 2.5 weeks and you've already been notified and something happened. I can only work backwards so far.
But don't use that as that's going to be my monthly plan, guys. I mean, that's
You're well,
one
you
off.
know, you don't pay your insurance premiums, and your insurance gets canceled. Guess what else gets canceled?
Your contract is subject to
Contractor
cancellation.
So now you're out of work and you owe Swift $100,000 for a truck.
Or at the very least, you're put on safety hold while you're trying to get Swift's insurance back to cover you and trying to find one of their cameras mounted in your truck, which could be a couple weeks out.
Yep.
And and then everything that comes along with that. So you guys seriously start setting that money aside. If you don't have it, get it, make it happen. If you gotta look, this is one of those things that it's actually worth not funding the fuel card for the week if that's what has to happen, right? Not paying yourself for the week. You need to make sure that this money is there and available and don't touch it. And then once you're no longer getting that deduction from your settlement, don't look at it as, I made that money. Put that money in your savings account, in your business checking account, and say, that is my insurance money that is no longer coming out of my weekly check, and put that much and save that much so that you can cover your insurance, guys. This is no joke. This is your contract. This is your business.
And Kenneth Bear Hayslip says, can we set up direct deposit? I hope.
So the way this works is the very first time you're going to get an invoice. And in that invoice, at the very bottom of it says, would you like it to be reoccurring? And you will click yes. And from that day forward, it will automatically come right out of your account. You have to do nothing. So each one of you will get your own site to manage all your insurance, your payments, your certificates, your driver's file. You can go in and you can look, you can pull up your invoices on site. Otherwise, they'll come directly to your email. Each month, it'll send you a copy of a paid receipt and all the coverages that are affected.
Cool. And then Turkey Hamburger Helper Guy, what a name. Did we ever get an answer on paying the year up front and getting a discount? Is that something that can happen?
So I did talk to that gentleman actually. So the annual payment is not an option.
Okay.
It is not an option.
Okay.
When I set it up, I set the treaty up to be monthly because I assumed that's what everybody wanted. I have to change it. I can change it. To change it for one guy, I would do that. But right now, as we talk, it is not done.
Right. And that's cool.
Ask that question. I recognized him. And
nice.
I will, before he gets his second bill, I will have that option available to him.
Okay.
Well, there you go. Sue Smith said, I'm not going to say a word. Wait, I can't help myself. Own your business. You cannot be dependent on others to catch your business. Manage, control, and plan for your business accordingly. And that is like an amen statement if there ever was one, yo. I
Mhm.
mean, look, big boy pants, y'all, big girl pants, big whatever pants, trophy people. You need a trophy. Call yourself whatever you want. Hey, run your business. Start taking control. Manage it. Don't let it manage you. Let's see. There's some other stuff in here. Oh, Timothy said if you get caught driving without insurance in a lot of states, your vehicle gets impounded and your license suspended, and you have to report to a parole officer for 6 months. So that's fun. I don't think Swift would allow that to happen because in the event your insurance is revoked through whatever means, Swift is going to be notified and they're going to put you on a safety hold. And if you move that truck and you don't have insurance, you're screwed. I'm just flat out, you're screwed.
Yep.
Yeah, and so look, I'll address this real fast just for fun. Crazy Gopher, the trucking, or Crazy Cooper, the trucking gopher, own a business, $1.25 a mile, laughing my ass off, buy a job. I would disagree. Jeff just bought what I consider an expensive house, damn near $500,000 on this $1.25 a mile job that you're saying he bought. We have a lot of expenses that we don't have to pay because of where we are, that other guys can't float the mileage rate that we work. So, I mean, maybe you're thinking that we have a lot more expenses than we do. I could tell you that that's probably not the case, that it's probably not what you think it is. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to hide from questions like that. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's the reason why we bang on the term contractor instead of owner operator or lease operator is because there's this argument that's been around since the 80s on who is a real owner operator, and we just don't want to play that game, right?
Right.
We're contracted to Swift, so we're contractors. Yes, I own my business, Mortco Transportation LLC, and I take care of my business. I do things like get with Jeff Reese on a fuel card and get with Tony Dennis on outside insurance, trying to separate myself from Swift, the organization,
Excuse me,
in case something bad happens in Washington and makes the contractor model kind of illegal, right? I'm doing all those things. I can tell you the biggest expense I don't have, and Charlie and I have been discussing this in the last week: cargo insurance. I don't have cargo insurance. At Swift's Cargo, they pay the cargo insurance. And let me tell you, when I looked at getting my own authority 2 years ago, my first year of insurance was going to be $18,000 for all the insurances that I needed on my first year on a brand new MC number. That's a huge hurdle to entry right there. That hurdle doesn't exist in the lease operator space. I go and I get a truck. A lot of the more expensive insurance is handled by my carrier. All I have to do is cover the truck. So we don't have the expenses that people think we do as owner operators.
Right. So I'm going to post this up here real quick. This is one of my peoples out of Facebook. Shame on you for not being a subscriber to our YouTube channel for starters. And I'm just going to throw that out there. Whatever. Whatever. She can't make a comment on the feed. She said because of that, whatever. I don't know. But she said, what if we have somebody that we want to ride on a truck, like her mom wants to come out on the truck? Do we still get the insurance through Swift, or are we covered with our new insurance? So basically a rider policy.
A rider policy, yeah.
Yeah, so we offer it to you guys. It's $10 a month, and it gives you access. You just have to notify who it is. They got $500,000 of medical, $100,000 of life insurance.
And what's the age? Do you know what the age limit is on the bottom end of that, Tony?
So it's 14. It's 14 with a height requirement or a height requirement, and if you on a one-off basis, if you have somebody younger, you just have to write to us, and then we just need to make sure that the truck is appropriately equipped to handle a smaller child.
Gotcha.
You know,
That seems fair.
yeah, we're not looking to see 4-year-olds running around the truck.
Why not with forward-facing seats and magic stuff?
So James, we weren't ignoring you. We were just talking other stuff. What is the monthly rate on the insurance? And I'm going to answer that this way. You need to call Seabrite and get a quote.
Right.
Because my quote is not going to be your quote. Charlie's quote is not going to be my quote. It's going to depend on your value of your truck and all sorts of different things. What we can tell you is what we've seen so far is that it is on par with what we're paying Swift if you're in
Right.
a lease truck, but it's better coverage.
I
So,
may have heard something recently that stated that those of us who are currently on Swift's insurance, those of you who let's see what I did there. Those of you who are currently on Swift's insurance, there's not going to be a price increase this year. That's tentatively speaking. However, new contractors coming in from this point forward, apparently, there was a substantial increase in the insurance rate. I don't know what it is. I was told it was a substantial increase. Those folks over there, when they were talking about this end of last year, third quarter, said that they weren't going to raise it more than 6%, but that's a big jump. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what the new rates are. So if you haven't contracted a truck yet and you're thinking about it, you might want to think about this insurance as well. Just understand that you will need to get the information you need to get this insurance prior to signing your contract. Ken Kelly's been going through this because he's getting a new truck. So he had to get the, what the SLV is going to be and all these other stuff beforehand so that he can have the coverage in place before he signs.
And Tony, when you and I spoke the other day, you said that the person you talked to right before you talked to me, in fact, was a guy that had just leased a truck that day, and you were able to fill him that day. So he's not gonna have to pay Swift anything for insurance, right?
Yeah. So here's the process that seems to have worked. Swift binds him with their insurance, gives him his contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
He sent it right over to us. We quoted it, bound it, sent it right back, and then they put that on his primary right then.
Which means he doesn't have to have a Swift camera and be monitored by Swift's stuff and all that wonderfulness.
Right.
Yay. And he could pay the $150 to get that camera removed and move on, or get his own and be happy and do happy things in life. And have far better coverage, in our opinion.
Right.
I think it's factual, but I'm going to say opinion.
And then he needs to get on the fuel card to be able to get the savings that will more than pay for the premiums.
Right.
I'm willing to bet that if he was one of the people who got the insurance, I'm willing to bet he's also getting signed up for the fuel card, because I have a feeling that he probably went through someone that we prefer, Michelle Cantrell, recruiter-wise, who lets people know about, one, Contractors Corner, two, that, hey, these guys got a great fuel card, and is probably telling people about our insurance. In fact, I know she's telling people about the insurance as well now. So yeah, the offerings of Contractors Corner and our partners and our friends, ES Advantage and Seabrite Agency, and Jeff Reese and Tony Dennis. We love you guys. Like, seriously, you guys are helping us change our game and getting far more control and ownership of our companies and our businesses, regardless of what some people think, that we're not in control of our businesses and we're not in business making the money we are. Hey, we can sit down and run numbers sometime if that's what you guys want to do. I'd be happy to sit down with some folks individually and we can talk real numbers. I don't mind. So I'm just saying, it may not be what you think it is, folks. If you think that you can't be out here and make some money, then I think you're wrong.
Yep.
Krista Tucker put up, go ahead. Or this makes me wonder why many OOs are just going to roll over and get the camera installed instead of going through the trouble with all of this. Some people can't be bothered with extra steps.
And that's a legit thing. What we found out from Brett is, how many was it? 25% of owners did not opt to have the camera removed on their new trucks when it was an option. Right? They just kind of say, yeah, that's what it is. It's Swift. not without even thinking about it.
Wait,
And
wait.
you know,
It's worse
that's
than that. 25% of the fleet chose to get the camera, not just not have it removed. 25% of the contractor fleet chose to get the camera installed.
So for you guys that don't know, I don't know if we told you this, Tony, but so there was a deal. If we got the camera, right, they would discount our insurance by $5, a whole $5 a week, $20 a month.
Which was the offset cost for the monitoring service.
Which guess what the monitoring service cost? $5 a week.
But then the real bonus and the real driving factor behind this was guys were now able to drive 72 with the pedal instead of 70 with the pedal. So they were spending more money on fuel and got this camera, which is now micromanaging them and threatening their contract. And we're not by any means promoting driving badly or anything like that, but it has been proven time and time again that a lot of weird mistakes were made in the monitoring of those cameras, and there was contracts lost that I don't believe should have been lost.
Right. And you know, I'll say too. Chris, I'll also say this. So this is why we do what we do. You know, our space that we live in at Swift Transportation as contractors, by and large, I mean, like the amount of people that are involved with our group. What's the Facebook group at this week, Charlie? Like 250 out of between 1,400 and 1,500 owner operators of Swift. That's the amount of people that take their businesses seriously enough to become involved in a group like we created, in a community that we created. Now that is right at 10% of the owner operator population at Swift, which I guess, you know, talking to people, that's actually pretty good, I guess.
Right.
But you know, it's a lot of people have never heard of us or even some of the other guys that try to help people out. You know, it's like I was telling Tony the other day, Swift will, and you know, again, this is business. I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings for you people out there, but Swift will literally lease you a truck. IEL will lease you a truck if you have not had an accident in 6 months and can fog a mirror. No business experience required.
Right.
And so what happens is, and you've heard us say this time and time again, are you paying for a job or do you own a business? I can tell you that taking ownership of your business is much more lucrative than just paying for a job. You know, these guys that do roll over and get the camera for that $5 discount back in the day that they gave right back because they pay for the subscription for the camera.
Right.
Stuff, you know, that's a thing. And that's what we're trying to change. We're trying to build a community where we come up with best practices that everybody says, hey, yeah, that works. You know, we've got a Ken Kelly out there that's insanely good at this. You know, Charlie and I have been around for a long time, and for some reason we haven't, you know, I haven't lost our businesses. I've never had a foreclosure on a home, you know.
Right.
I've never, you know, we do pretty well. So, you know, you know, and that's some of you guys out there that I know we have a lot of guys that aren't with Swift right now on the YouTubes because we got that influx from some things. But you guys that are at Swift, talk to other drivers and tell them, hey, there's this group of people that'll help you out.
Yep. Life on 18 Wheels said every OO I've met so far, I always ask if they're in the group or watch the show. And he said he's quite surprised that a lot of don't know about you guys. And look, man, I mean, this has been a slow grassroots growth process. You know what I mean? We grow on word of mouth. We're not out there banging on doors and well, okay, sometimes I'm like legit. I'm at a fuel island talking to some random contractor that's not even a Swift guy, being like, hey, bro, what are you paying for fuel today? And he's like, why? And I'm like, check out this fuel card. You can get it too, even though you're not Swift. Can't do that with the insurance. Oh, we should really touch on that real quick. So Tony and his folks at Seabrite have had several people call in trying to get insurance that are not Swift contractors. So let me be real clear about this. You must be a Swift contractor to get this insurance deal. And you must mention Contractors Corner to get it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Tony will hook you up with some insurance.
We will, but it's not.
But it's not what
we
we're
don't
talking
have
about.
the expanded coverages, the enlarged towing, there are differences, and you can't give a rate. You guys have a group
Right.
rate. It's based on your group and what we did in the beginning to establish it. So if an independent owner operator out there somebody was to tell them what we're charging, the phone rings because we're a third less or more. But
Right.
it comes from being a part of a group. And Contractors Corner is the way we've looked at it, it is a group within the Swift community, right? And we're out to protect both the driver and Swift. We want both parties to be happy with the policy, the coverage, and the claims handling. Right now, nobody has a claim. One day, one of you is going to have a claim. We want it to be the best experience you can have, even though you probably wrecked your truck, right?
Right.
You have to get it paid quickly, get you back on the road, and to minimize suffering. And that's the whole goal. So once you have that first experience, I think that in itself will propel you going forward.
Right. And look, from all of the things we've talked about, I mean, the insurance claim process through our current, well, your guys' current providers out there, not mine. It's been difficult. I mean, look, you guys know it's difficult at best. I mean, Jeff is kind of fighting it right now still. He's got to deal with the Swift side of things to get this damn oil pan sorted out, it just sucks. And you're not their interest. You just aren't. I mean, that's just the reality of it. And that was my experience when I had to deal with them, over that wonderful contractor who raked his truck across mine for no reason while I was parked.
Right.
Anyhow,
Hey, let's do this real quick. So Tony, I'm not sure if you're aware of what happened to me 2 days ago, but
No.
I want to see if maybe things would have gone different for me if I had your insurance. So I had a breakdown, broke down on the side of the road, needed a tow. Tow company came out, and you'll just shake your head at this. They tried to lift my 15,500 pound truck with the oil pan instead of taking the boom all the way to my axles to lift it up. They tried to lift it up with the oil pan. So you know what happened? The oil pan broke. That's their fault. So I called Swift back and I said, this happened, and they turned it into an insurance claim. And now I'm dealing with the claims adjuster who may or may not, have my best interests in mind, right? And what should have been a 24-hour in and out of the shop, because they do have the parts really available, is now looking like maybe 5 days. Would that have gone any different if I had called your guys? Or is that even an insurance claim, or what would that look like dealing with your guys?
So typically, when you have a towing company wreck your truck, it's not a damage caused by you. It's an outside pressure, right? That's the way it's got to be looked at. So it's not a collision. It was a deliberate act, right? That you were willing to pay for. So we would actually take that and put it into the shop, and then we would subrogate. So we would pay the claim, get you back on the road, make you go away, right? And then we would fight the tow company. So it's not a collision. It's not an act of God.
Thing.
It's a deliberate act that somebody else damaged your vehicle. And they will pay. Now, how timely they will pay is a different question, right? Which is what you're experiencing.
Right.
So the tow company, you would think that the tow company, rather than fight the act of God and Swift, they would just cut a check, right? That's the last thing you want, is to be banded from all of Swift for towing. They have way too many trucks, and they cover way too many roads. They probably got a truck in everybody's community every day, and you don't want them banded. So that call would have been made.
So what I'm hearing is I'd be out of here tomorrow if if I
Well,
already had you guys.
yeah. So if they'd have had their part, it would have went. So obviously, when they broke the pan, it didn't take the oil pump.
I do need a new sump pump and lift tubes. Yes.
The engine never ran after they broke it.
No.
No. Did not haven't turned it on since.
Okay. So there's absolutely no damage to the engine.
Nope. Not that I'm aware of. No, I don't think it went far enough in. I know some other guys were worried about that, but the pictures that I took and the pictures that the dealership took, it's not, no. So.
Yeah, it was straight towed, never turned on. They dropped it where they needed to drop it, and work was done from there at this point. So,
So
thank God.
why would they not hook up properly? Was there circumstances I don't know about?
It's even better, Tony. It wasn't actually the tow truck driver himself who did it. It was his partner who brought a Class 8 truck out to pick up the trailer Jeff was towing. He was the one who did it, and well, Jeff can tell you, but he sounded like he might have been the boss.
Yeah, he actually said that he actually did. Oh shit! Why isn't there a cowling around that oil pan? That shouldn't have broke like that. That's what he said.
Oh, cheap oil pan too. That was
Cheap
the
oil
other
pan.
phrase.
Yeah, he said cheap oil pan.
So you know.
So this was 100% an act of negligence. So
now you're going to go for downtime, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, Charlie and I were talking about it. If I needed to rent a truck to get back to work, because they had the parts, so this isn't going to happen. But if I'd had to rent a truck, I'd be going after them for that rental fee too.
But here's also the deal. Look, let's just throw the twist in there, because like Tony said, your downtime is now gone. I can assure you, you're not getting your days in the hotel paid back. Maybe you can get the hotel paid, but they're not going to pay your lost revenue.
Right. Yep.
And guess what? BOE would have BOE would not have.
No, because the BOE covers the driver, so we're looking at the health of the driver. But back up, if they caused your business damage, right? They're going to owe whatever it is that you, up to the point you can't profit on them, but you should be able to break even. If you spend every night in a hotel, they have every right to say, we're not going to pay your hotel. But if you sleep in your truck every night, that's now not available to you, and you stay in a hotel, they're going to give you a per diem. They're not going to let you stay in the fanciest hotel in the neighborhood, right? So it'll be, a Days Inn, a Quality Inn, whatever. They will give you that amount of money. That should be made with your claim. You should call me and let me submit the claim for you.
There you go.
I guarantee if I write it up, you will get paid.
We're gonna make some things happen, Captain.
Yeah, that would work if I had already paid you. I haven't gotten to that point yet.
That's okay. We still help you. I'd still help anybody.
Okay.
So you should, if you haven't settled or they haven't reached an agreement with you, and they're not going to settle with you, by the way, until the truck is actually rolled out of the shop. Right. Because they don't know what the potential damage is. So they'll make you go through the whole process, bear out the money, settle up. So it's finite. Once you're done, you're done. Right.
Right.
Man, that's just terrible.
Right. It sucked, man.
But Tony, this is what
Tony,
this is what I was telling you when we first started talking, is what a pain in the butt it is working with the adjusters at Swift. It's almost like, I'm paying the premiums, but they don't work for me. That's for sure. I haven't had very many cause to call these people, but every time it's fighting tooth and nail.
Right.
Okay.
Wimpy McPope, man with a million excuses, said, "Hit the like button, folks." I just had to throw it out there. I apologize. I like that guy's name. Just wanted to say.
Well,
So hey, Tony, this has been awesome. We got to get you guys in maybe more frequently than what we're doing. I know right now it's just been crazy because of what we're doing. Definitely not every week. I don't want to put you guys on the spot. I know Jeff Reese is trying to work on some other stuff that we're kind of poking him for and trying to see if we can get some other goods and services that will benefit our folks. I know not all of your offerings fit our market and our niche. So, you know, we're trying to develop some other things. I know he's trying to work on some things for us. Tony, your guys, man, that Scott dude, from what I hear, is working his ass off, and I feel for him.
You know what the best thing about Scott is, Tony?
no,
I'll ask him a question. He says, "I don't know. Let me call you back after I talk to Tony."
That's hard to get with people,
Yes.
yeah,
That's all you can ask for right there.
right?
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That is a good thing. And
He
asks
does
a lot
not.
of-
He does not pull anything out of his butt. The guy's awesome. If he doesn't know, he'll go find out.
Right.
Yeah.
Bear Hunter, I'm going to tell you, you need to back up and watch the come in about 45, maybe an hour into the show. And
Yep.
it's too much to cover right now, buddy. We can't recap it all.
And
Sorry.
in
Or
the
give me a call later.
Facebook's land, by the way, there is a definite trend, Tony, that people want to see what you look like.
They do.
Oh yeah, we were talking about like putting up a gray fuzzy figure and then doing the voice just to spur that
Just
along
to
some
spur
more.
the just to keep the legend going. You
The
know?
vampire.
So I'll tell you this: when my kids were little, I remember my daughter came home and the class assignment was everybody looks like somebody, and she says, "Dad, I think you look like Jerry Garcia, the Grateful Dead." And my youngest daughter looks at and says, "No, he looks like the Quaker Oatmeal Man."
Nice. I like it. That is a blend. And I wait.
Oh.
Okay, this is funny because I can totally see it because now I'm picturing Jerry Garcia wearing the hat. I'm just saying. And the suit, the Quaker. Oh my God, this is amazing. I wish I was good with photo editing stuff because that would be great.
As I'm sitting here in bib overalls.
I'm not supposed to say his name, but I'm gonna say it anyhow. Lazy Fuck Recliners by Jason McPote. I can't help but not say it. I will read anyone's name, and you guys are gonna get me in trouble one day. If I come over to Swift to lease, how can we make sure you guys get the referral money? You can check the description on the video if that's what you want to do. It's not something we push for. You know, in 15 years, I've gotten 3 referrals out of.
I got one.
anything.
I've gotten one.
Yeah. So, you know, and we just threw that money into Contractors Corner to pay for software and equipment that we use to do the things that we do. And so, yeah, I mean, it's not something we push. I mean, we're not going to say no. I'm not stupid, but it's not something we're pushing. But we do need to let these guys go. I know Reese's wife is, look, this was not my fault. It was my fault. Damn it, man.
Oh, we've got some contract stuff to go over too with everybody.
Yeah. And so we will cut you guys free. Tony, Jeff, thank you guys seriously for all that you're doing for us and helping our guys do better. Seriously, I can't thank you guys enough for everything. And the relationship that we're building is amazing.
Yep, we appreciate you.
All right,
And-
gentlemen, good night.
Tony,
Good
your
night.
people are awesome, man. Mary, Scott, the whole 9 yards, man. Thank you. Seriously. They're doing amazing work. And I'm sorry if any of our people are a little impatient, but they really want to get this stuff and they want your insurance. So you guys have a great night and we will talk soon. I promise.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Okay.
See ya.
All
Oh,
right.
they've been cleaning the office for a while. Like he was supposed to be gone. Jeff Reese hangs out just to do this show with us, like long after he's supposed to be home. And then his wife starts texting him and she's like, "Where are you?" Dinner's waiting. And he's like, "Babe, Charlie's still talking and the squirrels keep getting him and he doesn't know what to do. And I can't shake this guy. He just keeps talking about more stuff." And yeah, you know what I mean? So yeah. Funny comments. Just say no to baseball caps and flat bills. I don't know what that's about, but I'm going to agree with you because I'm not a flat bill guy. I don't know why. I like the old traditional thing, because I'm old. I'm a 70s baby, whatever. That flat bill thing is weird to me. I don't understand it. Keeping the stickers on it. I want to talk contract stuff.
So we got some contract stuff, Charlie. Good
We
stuff.
do. And let me pull up this screen because there's been an awful lot that's gone on this week surrounding contract stuff that people are upset about and people are saying they didn't know about or they were told something else. I want to start first by saying that if someone told you something and it was not put in your contract, shame on you.
Yep.
People can tell you whatever the hell they want. It doesn't make it real. I can tell you that if you sign on with me as a driver, I will assure that you have a fluffy unicorn that sits in your passenger seat. And when you decide to sue me because you didn't get your fluffy unicorn in the passenger seat, I'm going to say, is it in your contract? And you're going to be like, no. And I'm going to be like, well, then you lose.
Yep.
Plain simple. So, it's like when I went in the Army, I told them flat out, I want to be a military policeman. I want to jump out of airplanes and I want to be stationed in a unit where I get to jump on a regular basis. I want that to be part of my major job. Like, I don't just want to be airborne qualified. I want to be a damn paratrooper, yo. Right? And I said, when you put that on paper, you call me back. And the Sergeant First Class Fox back in 1991 made that happen and called me 3 days later. And I walked in, read the contract, looked it over real good, made sure all those things were there. I had MP school. I had a one station unit training, Fort McClellan, Alabama for basic and AIT. I had jump school en route to my duty station, which would be Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Bam,
I
bam,
signed
bam.
that contract and off I went in January of 92. So with that said, I will tell you that there are several things in this contract that we should probably touch on. The first one, I believe, is important. And let me click this button over here. And I got to share the screen. And I got to click this button. And then I need to find this in my drop-down list. Where is it? Oh, let me see. Here's the contract. Right? Well, it's weird because I'm usually sharing a tab out of like the browser, and this is like not that. So let me throw this up here. And you know what? I'm actually going to make this the focus, and I'm going to remove our logo. And personal information has been removed from this contract, but this is my contract. I simply did not want to give people my address because there's some people who may just show up and bad things would happen if that happened. Let's see. Oh yeah, the logo. Let me dump the logo so that there's nothing obstructing this. And I also want to get rid of this banner. All right. So section 18 of our equipment contract, the equipment lease itself, is important. And it has to do with the purchase of the equipment. And let me make this as big as I can get it on your guys' screen. That's probably too big. Wait, is it? Yeah, it's too big. Let me go back one click. There we go. So this section right here, 18, purchase of the equipment. And I'm going to give you the quick rundown. And if need be, we can read the entire thing. Well, you know what? Let's read it. If lessee is not in default, lessee may purchase the equipment leased on the individual leasing record at the expiration of the lease term for the stipulated loss value at the time, as shown on Schedule A. In addition, lessee may request termination of this lease at any time during the lease term. And this is important. If the lessor, in its sole discretion, that is IEL, if they decide in their sole discretion, should they grant such a request, such termination shall become effective and paid, shall become effective only on payment of the stipulated loss value at that time, as shown on Schedule A, plus all accrued and unpaid overall lease payments owing for the equipment for all periods commencing prior to such termination. On the exercise of the foregoing lease, purchase on foregoing lessee option to purchase, lessor shall execute and deliver the lessee all documents necessary and proper to effect transfer of ownership of the equipment to lessee free and clear of all encumbrances, security interests, and liens. Now, here's the layman's simple folks definition. Nothing in this says that you can pay your truck off early. In fact, it says the exact opposite. It says that if you ask them, they can tell you, no, we would not like to terminate this lease right now. And I can tell you why that is a thing. If the used truck market is at insanely high rates and your truck is now worth, let's throw out magical numbers here, $250,000, and you only owe $150,000 on it, right? From a business standpoint, you may or may not still complete that lease. Let's just be real. If you do not complete that lease, they now have an asset that's worth twice what you owe. That's just reality. Okay. And it would make good business sense for them to sell that asset on the open market at that point. You know, at their discretion, if they decide that they want to do it, and you can come up with the entire SLV plus any fees you owe up to that point, then they will do that. And they have done that in the past. It's on a case-by-case basis. They will talk to you individually. It does matter what the market is doing. Right now, the market is stupid high. You know,
Yep.
I owe 100 and what week are we in? 223. Let's see. As of this week, I owe $192,000 on my truck. The market right now on my truck with the mileage and everything is an average is well, it's got a swing of 195 to 205 this week in value on the market. So it's worth more than I owe. They may or may not be willing to let me pay that out. They may not. And guess what? It's right here in the damn contract. It's black and white. This is not a secret. This is something you should know. And I'm sorry if this comes off as a little harsh, but it's big boy pant time. Read your contract. Most of the questions that Jeff and I field on a regular basis, a great deal of them can be answered by reading the contract. And people get upset with us when we say, well, what does your contract say? Right? You know, what does your contract say about that specific thing? Because there's probably something in your contract that specifically addresses that thing. But if you don't read your contract and you don't know that it's in there, then you start asking, well, what is this? And then people get upset with Jeff and I when we say, hey,
Read your contract.
Read your contract, right? And they think we're just being jerks about it. That's not what we're doing. We're trying to get you to actually read your contract, which you should have done before you signed the contract. You know, the equipment contract itself is 16 pages, I believe, with schedules included. Schedule A, which tells you what the stipulated loss value is. Oh, yeah. Look, all right. Speaking of, I could have looked right here. Duh. So this week, 225.23, I owe $192,013.73.
Right.
It's not a secret. It's there. If I want to pay off my truck, if I told them I wanted to pay off my truck, this is the number that they would be expecting plus any current or past monies that I owe them. That number right there. And then they could say, well, yeah, we'll sell it to you, or no, we're not going to sell it to you. And then I will go back to paying it off, right? And the reason is the lease term, right, is for a set amount of time. And you're agreeing to run that lease for that amount of time. This isn't a standard purchase type financing deal. This is a lease on a huge, expensive piece of equipment, right? And yeah, there's sales tax when you make that final payment. So there's something else to think about. The lease term itself is set out very clearly in your contract. It states when it starts and when it ends. And at their discretion, and nowhere in this, I promise you that nowhere in this contract does it say that IEL, Swift, or anyone else is going to finance your balloon payment. You have X amount of time to figure out how you're going to handle that balloon payment.
Right.
You know what that time frame is. Start figuring that out.
So Charlie and I, you and I were talking about this earlier in the week because I was in that last group where they were actually doing that
Right.
2.5 years ago. And even then I was like, well, I would like you to finance that. And they were like, we don't think we do that anymore. And I said,
Right.
but when I leased this truck 4 years ago, you said that was something that you guys did. And they said, is it in your contract? And I said, well, no, but we had a handshake. And they did end up financing that. $50,000 was what mine was for 15% interest, by the way.
Yep.
But literally, I was one of the last people to get that deal. And it took, it was like when I got rid of my lemon truck, Charlie, that was 3 days of negotiation, you know? And, you know, the name Landstar did come up in that conversation.
Right.
And you know, this is where relationships come in. You know, Dana was not happy with me floating that name around, and so she got involved. You know,
Right.
but yeah, they just, you know, we actually, when this came up recently, I think a couple of weeks ago, we called we called Rapid Response and asked them about that. And what help me out, Charlie, what's her name? Becky told me was, we haven't done that in over 2 years. And then I asked Brett about it, and Brett was like, yeah, we're not interested in being a finance company anymore. So that means a lot of things for us, by the way.
Right.
Not just with the end of lease stuff, but I don't know if you guys have noticed, those of you that have been around for over a decade, if you fall into the rears, they want their damn money.
Right.
That didn't used to be a thing. That used to be oh, well, here, we'll send you this thing over the Qualcomm. Use your driver code to sign it, and we'll break it up into weekly payments of like $150 to get you back square with us. They're not doing that anymore. Not by and large. I think that there's individual cases where they do, Charlie.
Right.
But it's not like it used to be. Absolutely not.
Right.
Like we used to have that, if you want to call it a safety net, fine. I call it, we were really lazy in business 10 years ago.
Yeah. And relying on Papa Swift.
We were relying on Papa Swift. And
Trucker's Joke. I'd really like to jump into this real quick. Trucker's Joke said you can complete the lease and they can choose not to sell the truck. That is not a factual statement. What the contract states is that if you meet the terms of the lease, you will then have an option to meet the buyout option or the buyout requirements at the end of your lease. It is very clearly stated in the contract what that is, and that is by simply making sure that you are all caught up on all of your payments, that you're not in arrears, and that at the end of your contract, you will pay that balloon payment. Meaning you come up with that money. In my case, it's $86,000. So I'm planning and budgeting for that, 4 years down the road, right? And right here, it's funny because right here in that lease term, there is an option for you to extend your lease term for up to 6 months if they allow it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a catch to that. Because you have now extended that lease, and you may like it or not, or think it's shady or whatever you want to say, but you're no longer meeting the original lease agreement. And because of that fact right there is actually a chance where you may not actually qualify to pay that off at that point, to make that purchase. And notwithstanding, let me find that spot real quick. Determine less expiration initial, notwithstanding the foregoing in the lease term set for Chevrolet attached to the event lesser lease is equivalent to third, blah blah blah. Should the term extend beyond the term of the master lease, the purchase option under Section 18 may not apply. That's the purchase option. Upon termination of the master lease, lessee agrees to return the equipment to lessor in the conditions set forth in paragraph 19 of this lease. So, getting that extension could put your being able to purchase that truck in jeopardy, which means secure your financing long before you get to the end of your lease.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you come to the end of the lease, they expect one of two things to happen. You pay off that truck,
Or you get another one.
or you turn it in and move on, right?
Yep.
Or get another one, right? So, and then there was something else about excess miles recently. It's real clear right here. Excess mileage charge. Lessee agrees to pay the rent based on normal wear and tear, and that lessee shall drive the vehicle 10,000 miles dispatched by carrier, whether loaded or empty, or less per month, standard mileage, right? Lessee agrees to pay a charge of 9 cents for each mile driven in excess of the standard mileage, excess mileage charge. This excess mileage charge shall be calculated monthly by subtracting the standard mileage from the same month's actual miles dispatched by the carrier, whether loaded or empty, based on the carrier's then most current version of its mileage guide, and multiplying by 9 cents per mile. All excess mileage payments include administrative cost reimbursements and markups benefiting the lessor. All funds collected from lessee as excess mileage fees shall be the property of the lessor, but if the lessee, with lessor's approval, exercises the purchase option under Section 18, all such funds shall be returned to the lessee in the form of a credit towards the purchase price.
Right.
10,000 miles per month. It's not 2,500 miles per week. It is 10,000 miles per month. If I run 2,600 miles this week, I'm not getting charged for that 100 miles this week unless I exceed 10,000 miles in the month.
Right.
There's a distinction there that needs to be made, and people need to understand this. There's been a whole lot of this tiny little hair splitting crap that's been going on, and it's ridiculous. It's black and white, and I'm sorry, I'm a little worked up about some of this stuff, and Jeff may actually end up kicking me out of the show here at some point because I may go off on something that he's not particularly keen about. But there has been a whole lot of things being said these last couple of weeks that are not cool, and I'm going to go out and say that they're out and out lies. And we in particular have been dealing with someone who flat out has said things recently. Yeah. See his face. He knows.
I'm hovering.
You might want to let it go and just let me have it, man. But, some folks have said some things like, without naming me specifically, they're saying that, oh, those guys on that YouTube channel, those guys with that private Facebook group, if you've been at Swift long enough, you know who we're talking about. They're talking about us. And if they say anything different, again, I'm going to say lie because it's awful coincidental. Who, and by the way, also has, by their statement, coincidentally has a show on at the same time this individual has their show. And that's Trucker Todd. I'll say the name. He says that, our show coincidentally runs at the same time as his, which we've been doing for well over a year and a half. And he just started his because he was pissed off at us. He says it's easier, it's time, it's this and that, whatever. That's fine. However, he also said that I threatened him, and he took it to HR and told them that if they didn't do something about me and terminate my contract, that he would seek legal action. That's why he was removed from the Contractors Corner Facebook group. Sorry for the drama, but I think it needs to be said. I'm tired of people lying about things. I never threatened a guy. What I said in the text message was, I'm not going to fight with you about this because we wouldn't promote his OIDA insurance option. That's what it was. And we told him, look, we're going to do our own due diligence. When we find out what the best option is for us and our people, what we believe, we'll present options to people. And we'll move on from there. And he was mad because we wouldn't show the OIDA. We wouldn't tell people, go get the OIDA insurance that Todd said to get. Plain and simple. And sorry, Jeff, I've opened it. And I apologize, sir. But then he said that I threatened him and he was trying to get my contract. And then this past week, this man on his show on Thursday, towards the end of the show, after talking all kinds of trash throughout his show about us, without actually having the spine and the fortitude to say our names, I will say Trucker Todd said that I threatened to shoot him and Swift did nothing about this. At no time did I threaten to shoot this man because, number one, if I'm going to shoot somebody, they ain't going to know. It's going to happen. It's over. It's done. That's the way I was trained. Why would you warn someone you're going to shoot somebody? That's crazy as hell. That is not in my wheelhouse. If done right, they never even know it happens. They're just gone. Let's be real. But at no time did I threaten this man. I don't want to fight this man. I have no desire to punch anybody. you know, maybe. But I'm not looking to fight Todd. He's making up all this crap and saying that we're trying to hold him down. He's his own worst enemy. He wants to do this, he wants to do that, and blame it on us because he says we're keeping him from Swift people, that we're talking to Swift individuals and telling them not to do his show. I could care less who does his show. We have done everything to ignore this man, removed him from our group after he threatened to have my contract pulled. We were given advice, separate yourself from this guy. He's bad news. So we did. And he keeps making it about this other shit, and I'm tired of it. Sue, I know. My blood pressure is climbing.
Can I address this though?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Are you done?
Yeah, for now.
Just so everybody knows, Charlie's been like this for a while. He just has been really good on the show up until this point. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
so Bet Swift is paying $150,000 for a new truck. You know what? As we were doing our due diligence on the insurance, we found out that that's pretty close to factual. About 155, 160.
The sale
That's what
price
they're
on my
getting.
truck is $155,000 plus 15%. That's my insured value, $178,250. $155 is the cash sale price.
So now we talk about this is business. This is capitalism. Swift is not a charity, although there is Swift charities, but that's something totally different. Yeah, they want to make money. That's legit. That's how it's done. And that's one of the reasons why we've said, we are long-term lease people. We lease trucks because that's how we've done things. And under no circumstances will I ever tell you that that's the best way to get a truck. And this is why. You pay more for it. So
the difference in the straight lease versus the MRP lease has an addendum that's added to it. I believe it's what do you call it? Schedule F. It was in the past. I don't know what the current schedule is considered now, which adds the maintenance repair program into the equipment lease itself. So yes, the verbiage is the same.
Right.
So
basically, there's an addendum to it for that 7, 8, 9 cents a mile for the MRP stuff. But as far as the end of lease stuff, it should be the same.
So my bad for going off, folks. I apologize for anyone who doesn't dig the, and I'm going to catch it. Ken Kelly, you, sir, I know you're going to slam me for it in private, like things should happen, because you're going to be like, you idiot, shut the hell up, Airborne, because I'm going to whoop your ass. And that's legit, Ken Kelly. I'll take the ass whooping. But every now and then, you know what? You get tired of people talking trash and questioning your integrity and telling lies to back up their bullshit. There you have it. I said it. There are lies being said, and I can prove it.
Mm-hmm.
I challenge him to do the same. I challenge you. Show me where I threatened you. Not where you just happen to feel like I threatened you because I said I don't want to fight with you about this. Show me where I threatened you. Show me where I said, Todd, I'm going to whoop your ass. Todd, I'm going to shoot you. That never happened.
Oh, now
That's
he's
what
going to
happened.
crop that, and it's going to sound like you
Go
said
ahead. Because you know what? I got the full video.
that.
You can bet I have this entire video for full context. I apologize. I'm done. Anything else you guys want to know about the contract? Let's dip into it.
So
I'm hot.
the contract is not easy to read, guys. We get it. It's, pages and pages and pages of legalese. There's a reason why when I sign a new lease contract, it takes me the better part of a day to go through it, because I've said before, I have an educational background in literary criticism. A lot of good that did me, but what it did teach me was how to read stuff like this, and it takes me the better part of a day because I have to sit down and read, understand, go ask the person questions that's in charge of making sure I sign everything. Maybe negotiate a little bit here and there, which is really hard with IEL, but not impossible. If you see something you don't like in there, ask. The worst they could say is take it or leave it, right? But you don't even know to ask if you don't take that time. And they, all of my leases have been signed in Phoenix, and they have this little room they put you in.
Right.
You can close the door. It's quiet. They give you a bottle of water. as much water as you want, and you can just sit in there all day. They don't care. They get a little antsy with me when it comes along around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, though.
Right.
You done yet? Just about. Give me a couple more minutes. You know?
Hell, I had
But, you
mine
know,
a couple
that's
days beforehand on this
so
last one.
so you know that would be my bang since we're doing this today is it was brought up in another place. Take 45 minutes to read your contract before you sign. Dude, I read a lot. I read books, I read this, I read that. And to understand legalese like this, it takes me all day. Seriously, it takes more than that 45 minutes. And it was brought up on someone else, I can't find it here, Charlie, but someone said take the contract to a lawyer, spend the $200 for them to read it and explain it to you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. If you can't understand the contract, and there's nothing wrong with that, guys. You know, I mean, come on, it's designed to be this way. This is what the lawyers do. This is what lawyers do, right? So if you just don't have it in you to read through all this stuff, absolutely take the contract. They hate it when we tell you guys to do this, but ask them for the contract before you sign. They'll print it out for you and give it to you. Take it to a lawyer, and what they will tell you is, Charlie, what did your lawyer tell you?
Right. It was not a good deal for me.
It was like a 100% on Swift's side. That's how the contract is written.
Yes. And I said, okay, but at least I know where the problems are,
right,
and how I can avoid those problems.
So there you go.
But this is another spot I want to talk about. The net lease, no offset, section 4 here. Okay. This is a net lease, and all rent and all other sums payable by lessee hereunder shall be paid unconditionally when due, without abatement, deduction, counterclaim, or set off of any nature, including any thereof arising out of any present or future claim lessee may have against lessor, or any lessor's assigns, or the manufacturer or supplier of the equipment. In no event, except as otherwise expressly provided herein, shall the lease terminate, or shall any of the lessee's obligations be affected by reason of any defect in, or damage to, or loss or destruction of all or any part of the equipment from any cause whatsoever, or any interference with lessee's use of the equipment by any person for any other cause whatsoever. Which means that even if that brand new truck breaks down, you are still on the hook for your money. If your truck blows up from a death ray that came from Mars, you are still on the hook for that money.
Mm-hmm.
There is no offset. It is not their responsibility.
If you decide you don't like being an owner operator and decide to walk away from the lease, guess what? You are on the hook for that money.
Unless they decide at that point that they're not going to come after you and they're going to release or sell that truck and take their money that way, that is on them. But what the contract states is you are on the hook at the termination of that lease. Just because they haven't done it yet doesn't mean they won't come after people in the future. So treat it that way. Just real talk. And life on 18 wheels, we tried many, many times to work with Todd. And we were legitimately trying to help him. It wasn't
How
to
are we
build
back
our
on that?
channel, because life on 18 wheels threw it up. He said, I'm guessing there won't be any common ground with Todd in the future. Look, we have no desire to do any work with this guy whatsoever. Period. I would rather not ever talk about him. But we get questions in the group when people hear things on his channel or others that say, hey, I heard this. And
there we go.
Right.
We're lighting it up a little bit here.
Coach's Media Empire. Yeah. Death rate would hit my truck on the first day guaranteed, for real. But yeah, I mean, we've tried, man. It's not us. I assure you. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to catch hell for this later, and it's fine. I deserve it. But if it's gotten to a point where if I don't say something, my freaking head's going to explode. I actually got a migraine halfway through this show. You guys, luckily, I'm pretty good at hiding them. but I got a gnarly migraine, and it was, I believe this one wasn't one of my normal migraines. This was like a stress induced thing. And as soon as I started talking, you know what? My migraine went away. So I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Hey, man. I dig that dude.
Does he have the Jeff and Charley on a stick yet?
I haven't seen it yet, and I'm a
'Cause
little sad by it, but I get it. The
yeah.
guy's busy. He's got things to do. You know, it's all good. But yeah, so you know, you guys, he asked you guys that are in the group that are followers and fans of his to approach us and ask for us to allow him in the group. You can, I'm just going to tell you, just save your breath. It's not going to happen. He specifically even said in his show that he wants to be in the group so that he can get the information that we produce so he can put it out to his people. It's not that we don't want to do that, but at no time does he share the fact that he got that from us, that the work we put in led to this information. So whatever, you know, he was removed from the group because of the drama and the fact that he tried to get my contract pulled over bullshit.
Yep.
And we were advised by smart people to separate ourselves, and that is what we've done. And from this point forward, I will do my damnedest not to speak thy name again.
Good.
You guys got any questions? Throw them up. I'm ready to answer some questions, or we can wrap this thing. We're over 2 hours. It's up
We're
to you
over
guys.
2 hours.
There is no space in codename Narc, by the way. Just saying.
So, so you guys,
He's an
just so
offensive
you guys
bastard
know,
that I
the
love.
reason why we try to keep it to 2 hours is because the platform we're going to be moving to here soon, we actually are going to have a time limit on that. As far as how long we can do a live. So
Been
we're just
working out a workaround around that, I think, but I'm working.
yeah,
on
we're
it.
working on a workaround, but you know, that's the why. We've been trying to limit ourselves in anticipation of having that hard. They're going to cut us off anyway, so we might as well wrap it up.
That, and to be honest, we have trucking companies to run as well. I mean, granted, I come home every week to do the show. I mean, I specifically schedule myself to get here so I can do the show, which is another thing that I get trashed about, whatever. So that I can do the show from home because of the quality of the product I want to put out, and because of the access to technology that I have here at my house that I don't have on the truck necessarily. And so, you know,
I do.
Yeah, he does, that bastard. Got a living room office in his truck. Anyhow, yeah. So let's see. Otis heard that Swift may be purchasing Peterbilts. That is not something I've heard. People have actually asked them specifically, and they're like, "Yep, nope, not something on our radar right now." They already have a deal for Kenworths, and because of that, they're not going to make that crossover. That was the last thing I heard from them.
They're nice trucks, but I tell you what, you put that Peterbilt emblem on there, and you think you have high maintenance bills now? I mean, don't get me wrong. If I didn't have to make money in this business, I'd be driving a freaking long-nosed Pete
right
down the road like those guys with the straight pipes and freaking. But yeah, they're expensive, man. If you can afford one, why not? But you know, they are expensive.
Hey, the other trucker James Best. So it's funny. That's Pote's face. I'm driving a 23 Freight Shaker and love it. Great truck. I am driving a 23 Freight Shaker, and I got to tell you, you know, you can go back and see videos prior to July 7th of last year where I was talking about I will never get a new truck. You could give me a brand new truck, and I'm gonna go sell that joker and buy 10 trucks like I got, meaning my old 07 Freight Shaker, right?
Y'all notice that I never said anything like that. So if
right.
I end up getting a new truck, don't come after me like you did Charley.
Oh, and then wait, I doubled down. I even said it, and I'll never gonna get me an automatic. Yep, got me a brand new truck.
Now, come on, man. I straight up laughed at you on that one.
I know, but I love it, dude. Like for real, dude, like the day I got in this truck, I absolutely fell in love with it. I had to learn how to handle the bells and whistles and all that stuff. But man, I love the ride of that truck compared to, Chewy, my 07 Century. The driving that thing is just a damn dream. I'm so much less tired driving that truck than I was driving Chewy every day. It was immediately noticeably different. Shut your mouth. What are you whispering?
Told you so.
Whatever. I don't want to hear your crap. Anyhow, just whispering, I told you so. So what? Smarty pants. Anyhow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're nice looking though.
They are pretty.
If I was ever gonna do show trucks, man.
Right? Look, if I had all the money in the world, I'd buy me like a 1960 something crazy Pete, right? Drop that joker to the ground, dig out that hole so my seat's even lower. You know what I'm talking about. I mean, I ain't doing that high stick crap because I got a bad shoulder.
I was gonna say you
Put
gotta
right
put one
here.
of these in.
No, I don't understand that. It doesn't make no sense to me at all. I just don't get it. Sitting there driving like I'm.
I've
Like, what the
noticed
hell?
that whenever I see those, it's almost like small cars and big people.
Right,
Those ape hanger type shifters is
right.
always short. Is normally short people, like shorter than me. I don't know.
But yeah, so the contract stuff, you guys, seriously, there's a lot in there, and if you haven't read it, I mean, seriously, even to this day, if you're in the middle of your contract and you don't know what's in there, you need to know what's in there, because if you go tell somebody, oh yeah, they'll finance the balloon, and if you're believing that right now, you need to seriously make some choices real soon. Because when you get to the end of your lease and you've spent $140,000 in payments and now you can't afford to finance that truck or pay that balloon, you are going to be sad. And who are you going to blame? I can tell you that like 9 out of 10 people blame IEL, aka Swift, right? Oh, they screwed me. No, they didn't. It was right there in black and white, and you agreed to it when you signed all 16 pages of the equipment lease and 46 or 48 pages of your independent contractor's operating agreement. It's all lined out. If it's not in there, it don't mean jack. Okay? I don't care what anyone tells you. If it's not in your contract, it don't mean jack. It may happen because they told you and they're like, oh, well, down the road, we may do this or may do that. Well, that's fine, but you can't bank on it may be.
Right.
What you can bank on is what's in black and white. That's what you should be banking on. So, I mean, I'm just saying. Oh, Lord. If you guys got anything, throw it up. Otherwise, I think we're going to wrap this thing so that I can go get yelled at and stuff like that and be put in my place proper for getting unprofessional and catching static. And yeah.
Looks like Sue's going to put her foot in her butt.
I know. I saw that. Look, there it is. My foot, your bottom. That sounds kind of hot to me, though, Sue. Will you wear something pretty for me? Should I wear something pretty for you? Wait. Can your man do it? That's not weird. Look, OnlyFans, what? I'm just saying, we didn't go there. Look, he offered to take me on a date. What? Did I just say that out loud? That's not weird. We were going to go out on a mandate. That's funny. Mandate. Anyhow. See, look, now we've got to end this really quick, or someone please throw up a question that I can end this show on, because that would be way better than ending it on what I just did. Please save me, help me. Let's go to Life on 18 Wheels. I was leasing a 22,579 before I came to Swifty. It was great, but as soon as it hit 100,000 miles and the fact the last company was shady, I gave it up. Man, I feel you. I hate the fact that so many people put so much money into a truck and then just turn it in. Look, I get it. Some models are like that. And yeah, steel toes. See, that is hot right there. Steel toes. Yeah, baby. Oh, wear your motorcycle helmet.
Oh, goodness.
Awkward side.
And that's our show.
Yeah, there you have it, y'all. Thanks for joining us. It's going to be a great week. I'm going back to work tomorrow. I'm actually going to come off a day early this week. I'm going to come home Sunday night. I think we have a pretty good show coming up next week. We're going to have Adam Miller and Jim Fitzsimmons. Adam Miller being the president of Swift. Jim Fitzsimmons is the executive vice president of operations at Swift Trans. And I want to talk. Oh crap, Rosie's here, babe. Sue's tickling my fancy.
Oh,
It's not
no,
my
no,
fault.
no.
It's not
It
my
is your
fault. She tickled my fancy. That's not my fault. Anyhow, we're
Yeah,
gonna
we're
have those
gonna-
folks on next week.
And we're going to talk numbers because these guys know the business
Right.
and the numbers.
I want to talk about forecasting, what they're forecasting, what they're seeing versus what we're seeing out in the world and things like that, and really dive into some numbers. We're only going to have them for about a half hour. So come to the show prepared if you guys want to ask them questions so that we can get into those questions right away. These dudes are kind of they're kind of busy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And we're going to catch them right at the end of their
Yeah.
business day. So yeah.
Charlie, why don't you open the room up like at noon or something that day so people can come in and ask questions ahead of time?
That would be cool. Yeah. And I may actually be able to, well, I will do as best I can. I actually have an MRI that morning. We're picking up my son's
that's
girlfriend
right.
from the airport as well. In that same morning, they're actually going to drop me off at the VA so I can hang out at the VA for a couple hours while they go pick up his girlfriend. Because if I go to the airport, I'll miss my MRI. If they come it's just like a whole scheduling issue. She comes in at 9, my MRI is at 10, and it's not close enough to make it both places. So I'm gonna be hanging out. I know Barb quit digging, she said. Charlie quit digging. I don't know how not to dig. I'm really good at it. I got a big shovel. I can dig a hole pretty good. But yeah, so we're gonna have those folks on next week, and I will get a notice out and get that thing posted on the YouTube so people can start asking questions beforehand if possible. If you want something answered, do your best to get them up there, and we'll try and get everything we can answered in the amount of time we have. I think we got 30 to 45 minutes is what we've talked to them about, and we got to hold that to that schedule. Otherwise, they're never going to come back and talk to us again.
Yep.
And I'd like to be able to talk to them again. So yeah, if you guys got anything else, last call. Otherwise, I'm going to say, Jeff, do you got anything else you want to talk about, buddy?
Nope.
Any
Go
last
have a
words of
cigar,
wisdom?
calm down.
Right. I may need a drink, but it's going to trigger a different migraine. So I'm probably not going to do that. I'm just going to dip into my Mountain Dew a little deeper and relight this thing that's been dead for a while. Yeah. So you guys, It's been real. It's been fun. And we are so glad you guys are here. I hope you guys got some answers to the insurance stuff. If you have any other issues with the insurance stuff, by all means, reach out to us. Let us know in the Facebook groups, or if you're not there, PM me right there. My Facebook.com/Chuck411 is how you're going to find me on the Facebooks. And you can shoot me a PM, friend request, whatever you want to do. And shoot me a PM, though. And I'll do my best to answer any questions you have. And if there's issues, we'll try to get that done.
Yep.
We're trying to get it worked through, and those guys are really busting their tails. And yeah, we just didn't expect so many people all at once to jump on the insurance, honestly. Maybe that was my bad. I don't know. But we're going to get it squared away, guys. You guys be safe. Look after each other. There's no one out here looking after us but us. So, yeah, be safe. And we will see you next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time, like we've been here. Look at that. That's Jeff. I'm Charlie. We've been here for like at least the last year and a half every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Just going to throw that out there.
Again.
Exclamation. You guys be safe. We're out.